decades, the whole beauty industry ran on this phrase, anti-aging. It was everywhere. Packaging, commercials, magazines, and nobody blinked. Then around 2017, Allure published this article saying that they would ban the use of the term anti-aging due to the negative connotations around aging. So there was a noticeable market shift away from anti-aging, and people started asking, what are we actually saying here? If you're anti-aging, you're basically anti-life, because the alternative to aging is not being alive. So brands pivoted. They swapped in new terms like age-defying, aging well, aging gracefully. Now we see age management, but let's be real. Changing the label doesn't change the story when the underlying message is still don't look old. And when you frame aging like it's a disease, where the only healthy outcome is no wrinkles, no sagging, no pores, no texture, it's not only unrealistic, it's damaging. Enter Kris Jenner. Kris Jenner is 69. She just had her second facelift. And honestly, I think she looks amazing. Her surgeon did a phenomenal job. Her cheeks are not chipmunky. Her lips are not overblown. Her face isn't frozen. She looks like herself, just decades younger. I will say that I'm glad that we're moving away from the overfilled era. So props to Kris Jenner's surgeon and props to Kris Jenner for at least being transparent about it, because there was a time when celebrity work was super hush-hush. We could only guess what they did, and I hated how it was attributed to like good genes and green juice. So at least we're having more transparent conversations about it, but are they necessarily more honest? I don't think so. I should say that as a feminist, I support whatever a woman wants to do with her body is her choice. So this isn't necessarily critiquing what Kris Jenner did. It's the way that she talks about it that gives me pause. Kris Jenner says that her facelift is her version of aging gracefully, and that she even hopes to inspire women. And I'm like, inspires us to do what exactly? Drop 6 figures? Take a bunch of time off work to heal? Because when a celebrity's version of aging gracefully is only accessible to a teeny tiny slice of the population, that grace becomes a moving target, and chasing it just seems like anxiety and debt. Let's zoom out for a second. When it comes to aging and skincare, I see 2 extremes. On one end, you have the do-nothing camp. No routine, no sunscreen, no skincare, just letting nature do its thing. And this is kind of where I was when I turned 30. I mean, I didn't even wash my face. And then I realized that I'm just speeding up the aging process, and it's not really the kind of natural that I was going for. On the other hand, you have people chasing their 25-year-old face, and on the extreme side of that is body dysmorphia. I think the real work is sitting with ourselves and figuring out, where do I land in these 2 extremes and what feels aligned with me and my values. For me, that shift happened in beauty school. I started out like very clinical, very scientific. I wanted to understand ingredient science and research-backed protocols and skin biology. And I loved it. But then I fell into the beauty matrix, and it's not hard, right? Scrolling on social media, getting bombarded with these filters and these perfect poreless faces and these endless procedures. And I noticed that I actually started to feel bad about myself. If I had like a hormonal cystic breakout, which I do from time to time, it would like ruin my mood. I noticed that I had an urge to Facetune my photos again and get rid of imperfections, which I haven't done since I was like in my 20s. I noticed myself questioning if I'm doing enough in my 4-step routine, if I need to be doing more. So I started buying more products. And then thankfully, the social work side of me kicked in, and I pulled myself out of the matrix, and I realized that I was falling into that same toxic spiral that I usually critique. And that was a real turning point for me, and a big reason why I decided to start this channel, because I realized that I can't have ethical conversations about skincare and especially aging without talking about the beauty industrial complex, which is a topic that I'll get into in a later video. So here's the framework that helps me now look at skincare in these two lanes. Lane A is your skin health. This is your foundation. The cleansing, hydrating, sunscreen, using actives that make sense for your skin and support your skin barrier, not TikTok trends, and also the lifestyle factors, the sleep, nutrition, exercise, stress management. Lane B is your aesthetics. This is where Botox, fillers, lasers, and surgery live. And none of it is inherently bad. It's just aesthetics, right? They don't actually improve the health of your skin. They change the way that it looks. And that's fine. All of it is fine. The question is, am I making these choices from a place of fear and panic and age anxiety, or truly from a place of empowerment and what feels aligned with my values? For me right now, I'm all about slow and steady, minimally invasive. I love treatments that target both my skin health and the aesthetics. That's why I really lean on microneedling and chemical peels. And that's my definition of aging gracefully. And I realize that that might change as I age, which is okay too. So when Kris Jenner says this is my version of aging gracefully, sure, she's allowed her own definition, but let's be real, her version is not accessible to most people. And I think the problem is that we prioritize the skin aesthetics over our skin health, which means we're probably making decisions out of a place of fear and panic and age anxiety. And by the way, age anxiety is a real thing. It affects elderly populations. And I haven't done my research on this yet, but I'm willing to bet that we're probably experiencing age anxiety younger and younger with each generation. Because we have 9-year-olds buying retinol. Hello? And here's what's nice to remember. Aging gracefully is free. I refuse to buy into the narrative that aging gracefully should cost us so much time and money. It does not. I'm not saying that women shouldn't go out and get facelifts. I'm saying that I wish aging gracefully was not so much about money and status and more about perspective and intention and care. Because for those of us who don't have that kind of privilege and status in society as Kris Jenner, I think we're better off accepting and making peace with our aging self rather than chasing something unattainable and then not even knowing if it's gonna bring us that sense of confidence and self-love and validation that we're after. Because that self-love, that confidence, that validation is something that we can always work on within ourselves. And it's guaranteed to make us feel good. And the best part, it's absolutely free. So the 3 major takeaways from this video is that aging is not a disease. It's proof that you're here. Healthy skin is not poreless. It's not wrinkle-free. It's not always glowing. Sometimes it breaks out. Sometimes it looks dull. It's skin. That's normal. Age management, or aging gracefully, at least how I define it, is caring for your skin first and foremost as a functioning organ, and then making aesthetic choices from a place of empowerment, not fear. If this gave you a little exhale, or at least something to think about, and you want to continue exploring this journey with me, don't forget to subscribe to my new channel and maybe send this to somebody who you think might benefit. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What is your definition of aging gracefully? Bye! See you next time!